In today's video, we will be taking a look at one of All Mountain Adventures' bikepacking routes that is part of their yearly bikepacking events. The one we are looking at today is the Shires Way. If you have fallen onto this video and haven't watched the full bikepacking video, then head over to the main channel at Keep Smiling Adventures to watch the entire bikepacking video. I will try to give you everything you need to know so you can decide if this is a route you might want to take on. I will cover which bike to use, wild camping options, difficulty from 1 to 10, with 1 being easy and 10 being hard, and my overall rating of the route, again from 1, which means do not bother, to 10, which means it's the best thing since sliced bread. Let's get into it. The Shires Way, created by All Mountain Adventures, is one of those routes that reminds you that you don't need towering mountains to have an adventure. Crossing 6 counties through the heart of rural England, through Gloucestershire, Wiltshire, Berkshire, Buckinghamshire and Oxfordshire, and also Warwickshire. Taking in the Cotswold Lakes and waterways, the world famous Ridgeway chalk track, the scenic Chiltern Hills and the picturesque market towns including Chipping Norton and Bourton on the Water. The route is about 211 miles or about 340 kilometres long. It is an official event where riders take this route on self-supported over 3 days, with checkpoints and feed stations along the route. The route officially starts around the Cotswold Lake area, but I ended up starting in the little village of Goring-on-Thames. The route itself is a loop, so you will finish where you start, making the logistics a little easier. Being around rural England means there aren't any really extreme conditions or mountains that you will have to overcome. Just rolling countryside, a few short climbs, and potentially some narrow tracks that could be a little overgrown. Although if you are taking this route on in the official event, then you should be fine. While the route is off-road, the trails are never too technical, and as long as it's fairly dry, the trails will roll nicely for you. The route itself does have a fair amount of paved surfaces along the way, mostly quiet backcountry lanes, which does mean you get some fast, easy miles along the way. If you are looking into this route and looking for a complete off-road adventure, then you might find there to be a little too much road for you. The nature of the area around these counties means it is quite built up, so you just have to use roads to link up the off-road section from time to time. Although saying that, when you do go off-road, there are some great fun trails around here, from the chalk tracks of the Ridgeway, the single track around the Chilterns and the open double track around the Cotswolds with stunning views. It is a route that will definitely test you from time to time, depending on your experience. That might be more than others, but not too much that it becomes a sufferfest. You will definitely want some kind of GPS device to follow the route for this one, as it is mixed trails and not signposted, but it is only a shortish route, so you could get away with using a phone combined with a power bank. When it comes to who this route is best suited for, I think this is one of the more beginner-friendly routes with lots of easy miles that are flat or just flowy. You don't need to come into a route like this with tons of experience. Part of that is because this route is never too far away from the built-up world. So if something does go wrong, you will be able to find help or a solution fairly easily. There are no mountains, no crazy trails where you need advanced bike handling skills. You will still find yourself with challenges along the way, but that is part of why we go bikepacking, right? I am a bit biased here, as I grew up around the places this route goes through, and maybe it's just nostalgia, but I always enjoy riding the trails like the Ridgeway and around the Chilterns. It is good for those of us that like to stop off regularly and not to have to worry about carrying days worth of supplies. This route also gives you the opportunity to stop off in some very pretty villages along the way. So it doesn't have to be all about the trails. If you are looking to participate in the actual event but don't have much experience, then this one should be on your radar. It will give you a chance to experience a bikepacking trip that won't feel too overwhelming. One that will give you the experience and confidence to start exploring further afield. When it comes to which bike for the Shires Way, the good news is that you don't really need anything too fancy. You will be fine doing this on a rigid bike. There is no need for a full-on mountain bike or suspension at all. You will still want some easy gearing, as there are a few sections along this route that will get your legs spinning, mostly along the Ridgeway and the Chilterns area. This route is probably one where the gravel bike will be the ideal bike choice, as the terrain isn't overly technical and there are lots of rolling countryside, quiet back lanes to get through, where the gravel bike will give you the upper hand. When it comes to tyre choice, it will depend a bit on the conditions when you take on this route, because if it has been a bit wet, then some of the trails can get much harder to ride than when they are dry. Again, mostly the Ridgeway. But for the most part, I would be wanting tyres around the 40 to 50mm wide range mark. Some of the trails along this route can be prickly and thorny, so having a tyre with good puncture protection is a must. With the route not being anything too extreme, a bike you are comfortable with is the key. Good brakes, well-maintained gears, and you should be golden. When it comes to wild camping, this is probably the only downside to riding a route around here, and that is that wild camping is a little harder. There are places along the Ridgeway where you can get away with it, and also around the Chilterns. But in between these places, wild camping could be a bit harder. If you are looking to wild camp along here, then I think it's going to be more of a stealth camping trip than anything, more than likely with a bivvy, where you can tuck yourself away for a few hours once it gets dark at the side of a field or something. If you are wild camping along this route, you will really need to be setting up late and leaving as early as possible, because it is a well-populated place. Equally, it would be quite easy to just find a B&B for the night if you prefer the more luxurious style of bikepacking. There are a few official campsites dotted around also. So while wild camping is possible, it will take a bit more patience and longer days in the saddle to make sure the sun has set before you find your spot. When it comes to the difficulty of the Shires Way, there are sections along this route that you might find challenging, but the challenges are normally short-lived and rewarded with some easy miles afterwards. This is definitely a beginner-friendly route. It's always going to be subjective how hard a route is for yourself, and sometimes conditions on the day dictate how hard a route could be. But for me, I would put this at a difficulty rating of around 3.5 to 4. If you look at this route in sections from the official starting point, then you have the Ridgeway and then into the Chilterns, which can be a little tough and is probably the hardest sections of this trip. But then you have loads of easy miles out towards the Cotswolds. The Cotswolds isn't an overly hard place to ride, as it's mostly rolling hills, and a lot of the Cotswolds are more on the paved side when it comes down to the surfaces, with a few really nice open double track and the odd narrow bridleway from time to time. But mostly it's all very rideable and on the easier side. Like I said, I am a little biased here and I'm probably enjoying the nostalgia when I ride routes around the area this route traverses. But I really enjoy the trails around here, and visiting some of the little villages is always nice. When it comes to a bikepacking route, it's an easy to ride, simple route where you can just get lost in the surrounding countryside and not have to overthink how much stuff you need to carry, or how much food you need to carry, or how hard the trails are going to be each day, because it's just not that remote. So, as for my overall rating for a beginner bikepacking route, I'd give this a strong 7.5. I think if you are a beginner and want to try an official event, then you will have a good time with this one. If you have done some of All Mountain Adventures harder routes in the past, then you might find this one on the easier side. Actually, you definitely will. But if that's what you are looking for, then great. I think this route is a well-rounded route with a bit of everything that all levels of riders could enjoy. Want to smash it out in one go? Well, you can definitely do that and put in some really good times. Or if you want to take it easy with the slow and steady mindset, then this route lends itself very well for that. as there is plenty to see from villages to chalk horses, and everything in between.